share with you. So Nikki is here. Hello, Nikki.
Hi, excuse me.
Hi. So Nikki's she's our special guest today, and she's going to go through this inner game upgrade session. Um, and earlier, when I invited Nikki to be in our session today, I had asked her, "What is your intention for upgrading? Like, what would you really like to break through this evening?" And I'd like to ask all of you that as well. Um, and you can type it in the comments or just write it for your own personal notes. What is your intention? What would you like to break through? What kind of resistance would you like to release? And what are the results? What do you want to grow in your life? So Nikki, for you, what is that intention? And what would you like to break through this evening?
So my intention is to become consistent
Okay.
and to become in flow where it's not right now I have this resistance of consistency that I just have to force myself to do.
Mm-hmm.
And it's getting done, but again, it's just forcing myself to do it. I have a feeling that the resistance is um, self-doubt and I can't put my finger on it, but I'm sure you'll help me.
Yeah. Okay, so you said you feel like you're having to force yourself to do things. And are these what kinds of things are you feel like you have to force yourself to do?
Mainly in my business right now, I've gotten to the point with the family, like that's flowing.
Mm-hmm.
Like in excuse me, other parts of my life are flowing,
Mm-hmm.
but it's in my business right now that I'm just having to hold my own hand to the fire.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it sounds like there's a resistance to growth. Because what's going to happen if you I mean, you're doing them, right? It's not like are you procrastinating on things, or it's just that you're putting a lot of effort into getting yourself to do them?
No, there is a portion of procrastination as well,
Okay.
and of just it's not even procrastination, it's just a distraction, a lot of
Mm-hmm.
distraction, and
Mm-hmm.
just allowing myself to, I mean, I'm sitting there really, I need to do XYZ, and I'm literally choosing to do something else.
Okay. Um, so there's a couple of things that we can look into. One is, um, are you in full alignment with the result? Are you in full alignment with the process? And when I say alignment, I mean, do your beliefs and your desires match up with the thing? Um, so can you share a little bit about the results that you're working towards?
um, yeah, I want to grow my nutraceutical business, so that I have the residual income, and also I've just started really getting in more into doing long distance Reiki and house clearing. But
Mhm.
um oh, I had a thought and it just escaped me. Oh, the resistant or the alignment piece for me, I feel like is putting myself out there, and fear of, I guess, rejection and what other people think. So I have to do that in order to grow both
Mhm.
businesses. And there's this fear. around it.
Okay. All right, so we're gonna check in with this, and I'm going to, I have a process that everybody learns in Recharge as well, of reading the energy to be able to properly assess, what is really going on here. So, and everybody, as you're listening, you can put yourself in Nikki's shoes and say, okay, how is what I'm experiencing similar to this, and how can I really relate to this? Because, we're all reflections of each other and we can all relate in some way. So you can close your eyes and really tune into yourself. And I'm going to check in on this. So we're going to see, is the biggest block that Nikki's working through right now, is that a fear of rejection? Okay, so it's kind of a fear of rejection. Is it a fear of abandonment? Okay, so Nikki, what comes up for you when you hear a fear of abandonment? Because that's a little bit different than what you said, but that's the thing that came up.
Nothing in particular that I can put my finger on.
Okay. If you think about it, rejection is a type of abandonment. Like if somebody finds something out, they may abandon the relationship, so let's go a little bit deeper and see where this is coming from. And let me know, if something comes up for you, if you have a realization or something like that, just feel free to interject. So did this fear of abandonment originate for Nikki in the between conception and birth? Between birth and 10. Okay, was it at birth? Was it between birth and 5? Was it age 5? Okay. Was it age 6? Okay, and did this have to do with Nikki's mom? Did this come from Nikki's mom? From her dad? Okay, so what I'm getting here is that this was from your mom from when you were 5. Do you remember, hold on, actually. Was it something that her mom said or did? Okay. Do you remember anything to do with your mom when you were 5? Any stressful situations or significant events?
No, I do. During that time, my dad was traveling overseas a lot, and so it was just me and my mom and my brother. So maybe something around there, around that. I don't, to be completely honest, and I know we've talked about this before, I don't actually remember a lot of like pre-7.
Okay. Okay. Okay, so did this fear of abandonment come from the way that Nikki's mom responded to her dad being away, traveling? Okay, was it something that Nikki's mom said to her about her dad being gone? Was it the way that she talked about her dad? Okay, so this is and you could have this conversation with your mom if you wanted to. Everybody has a different relationship, and, people might respond differently, but, and we don't need to go too far into it. We just need some initial information and initial awareness to be able to release this. But it really looks like this, in a way, to a little girl, your dad abandoned you at that time. That's how little girls perceive that. And this has nothing to do, this is not saying your dad's a bad person. It's not saying you're a victim. It's not saying any of that. It's just looking at, okay, how do people react to situations like this? And this makes a lot of sense that you would develop a belief like this, a pattern like this, and deeply inside of you. And if your mom, think about you and your husband. If he was gone so far away for so long and you did not have the tools that you have today, how would you respond to that? That's so stressful. Like, I've been away from my husband when we didn't have kids. I can't imagine being away from him for that long with kids and having everything riding on my shoulders. And like, what does that mean about me if my husband's gone for so long? What does that mean about my children? And what does that mean for us? So there's a lot of stress, a lot of deep, almost like a spiritual stress. It really hits you at the core with a situation like that. Especially, we regard our parents almost like physical forms of God, not religious. Like, this is our source. Our parents are our source. And what does it mean about ourselves when our very source isn't there with us, doesn't want to be there with us? And I know that's not exactly how it was, but that's how we would typically interpret that, is like, why is that job more important than me? And as I'm saying that, there could be many layers of this intertwined with what you're doing. Is like, what does it mean to be very successful? What does it mean to, really work hard? Hard work means abandoning your loved ones.
Mm-hmm. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. And you don't want to do that to your children.
Yep.
So it's fear of abandonment, but it's also fear of abandoning the ones that you love the most. So would you like to release this?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's close our eyes again. And I always like to close my eyes too. It just helps to really tune in more deeply. And when you think of that abandonment, where do you feel that in your body? Where have you been? Can you sense that you've been holding on to that?
In my gut and in my shoulders.
Okay. All right. And if you were to tune in to your gut and your shoulders, what does that fear of abandonment look like? Or what does that fear of abandonment look like if it were to take on a physical form?
Like a sword.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what's a sword doing?
It's actually just resting on the ground.
Mm. And what is the purpose of the sword?
I originally thought for harm, but it came in for protection.
Mm. And what is it protecting?
Myself when I was little.
Yeah. Let's bring in that little girl inside of you. And imagine her walking up to the sword. And what does she want to do? What does she do with the sword?
She picks it up and says, "Oh, cool, look at this."
And how does it make her feel? How does holding that sword make her feel?
Powerful.
Mm. Is this sword does she need the sword in order to feel powerful?
No, but she thinks she does.
So what would you like to tell her about the sword and about the need to like cut and force and have that like that forceful power?
That she is more powerful without force, and that she doesn't have to protect herself from anything.
Yeah. And why is she more powerful without the force?
Because having people fear you because you forced them to do something is not the way to bullhead your way through life. It doesn't work in the long run.
You know what I'm just seeing is like she's like in the jungle and she has this like a machete and she's like macheting her way through this thick grass, and then she drops the sword and it's like, oh, I can just like stand up and like rise above that grass and just like move through it. Like I don't need to um
Love it.
so imagine a light coming down, a beautiful bright white light. And it shines down over you, it shines down over your face. And right when I said the light, my whole HVAC system turned on in my house. And that's a reflection of that energy shift is, the whole world around us, our environment responds to these energy shifts. So imagine this light coming down and shining over your face, over your neck. Feel it soothing and warm over your body. Shines down over your stomach. Feel your stomach and your neck softening. Feel it opening up, blossoming like a flower. And in your mind, you can let that beautiful little girl know that she can put that sword back down. She doesn't need it. That she has all the power in the world inside of her right now. You can even show her some ways that she can utilize that power. And as she hands the sword over, it immediately rises into the light. And she looks up at this bright, sparkly sword rising into the light. And as she does that, she feels the power inside of her. And it feels like a wave of energy. It's like something entered the base of her spine and surged up through her spine. It begins to circulate through her whole nervous system. Begins to enter her cells. It's this bright, it's like almost like a bolt of, I don't want to say lightning, it's not that intense, but it's a surge of energy that flows through her. And it's this connection to her source that tells her, it guides her, and it shows her everything that she needs to know. So that as she approaches situations, she knows exactly what to do. She knows exactly how much energy is needed. She knows exactly how much power is needed for every situation. So you can go through each of these situations, in your business, with your family, and imagine yourself approaching them with that sword laid down, with that sword, dissolved into the light, empowered with your own inner power. With that life force that flows through you. And feel yourself being moved by that energy. Feel that energy flowing out of your voice, inspiring your communication, inspiring your creations. Feel it flowing out of your hands, flowing out of your heart. Every step is effortless. Every move is effortless because you're allowing yourself to be that channel, to be that vessel. So, Nikki, what's coming up for you right now?
Just a clearing of and a peace and calmness.
Yeah. And what's really flowing right now, Nikki, is trust. Trust in yourself. Trust in your intentions. Trust in your daughter's ability to manage themselves. Trust in your husband. Trust in your process. Trust in those actions that you know are going to give you the greatest returns with the least amount of effort. And trust in yourself that you're doing the right thing. And feel this trust circulating throughout you. Softening and just melting away any fears, any doubts. Feel that trust overflowing out of the top of your head and flowing all the way down to your feet. Incorporating this energy into your whole body, into your whole being. And what is the message of this trust? Like, what is, if trust wanted you to know something, what would it want you to know?
I'm on the right path. And that to trust my intention and to stop questioning.
Yeah. Yeah. And bring that little girl back into your attention again and give her a big hug. Imagine giving her a big hug. And let her know what you would have wanted her to know in that time period when your dad was gone. Like, this is like, what was the truth about that situation? And feel her receiving that. And you can take a deep breath. And we can come back into the space. You can open your eyes. And so everybody else who was watching or listening, let us know in the comments what you experienced and what your biggest takeaway was. And was that one of your girls who was just knocking on the door?
Yeah.
It's so funny. What a cool synchronicity with everything that we've been doing today. Do you have just another minute to wrap up our session? Okay.
Yeah.
So what was your biggest takeaway, Nikki? Like, what's the shift that you feel from that exercise?
That to just trust in the process and trust my intentions, and to trust basically that I have everything that I need to go forward. I have all the tools, I have everything that I need. And I step away from this a lot, and your sessions always remind me that I need to call on my little girl self more often and just
Yeah.
give her hugs more often
Yeah.
and just reassure her that everything's going to be better than we could ever imagine.
Yeah. And what's so beautiful about that, Nikki, is like the more connected we are with those inner parts of ourselves, like we work together. There's not that push pull. There's not that fighting and that forcing. Like we're all doing this together. We're like arm in arm, like going for the things all in harmony. So now that you're the adult, you get to lead her and let her know this is your role. You get to be the one that does this. Because that 5-year-old little girl, she grew this amazing strength out of what she experienced, and she can utilize that strength, and you can really tap into that strength at the appropriate times.
Mm. That's a
So,
great analogy, and yes.
yeah, awesome. So to get the most out of this process, and this applies to everybody who's watching and listening, to get the most out of this process, as I said, with those 3 secrets, what we just did, we did that unlocking, and then we went down and we released that root cause. The next step is to take care of yourself and to really trust the intuition that is going to be rising up for you. Trust those instincts, trust that inspiration, and take action on those things, even if they seem so weird. Like all of a sudden, you feel this incredible urge to reach out to somebody or to write an email or to, stay up until 1 o'clock in the morning to work on this project. Not that I say that's I'm not encouraging that every single day, but sometimes there's so much inspiration that you just have to, allow it to express, and we do things that are out of our habits. So just really trust and follow these instincts, because you have this new programming now that's going to start guiding you in a new way. So,
Awesome. Thank
yes, you're
you.
so welcome. And really acknowledge yourself for the changes that you're making, because it's not in your imagination. Like when you start experiencing things differently, it's real. So feel free to share with me, feel free to, journal about it, whatever you can do to acknowledge those things and acknowledge yourself.